Good. Thank you, David Adams. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in the audience. It's good to have you. And this is a question that we put forth to everybody here. Where would you be without your mother? Literally. You wouldn't be here. I don't know where you'd be. But if it weren't for your mother, you wouldn't be sitting here right now. So hats off to all of you wonderful, beautiful people. And the thing about mothers is, that's different from fathers. You always know who your mother is. The father can kind of be a question at times. Anyway, John David, good to see you back on your feet. Jimmy, nice to see you up there. Where's Miss Charlotte? Off someplace. Where? Oh, she's late. Well, I will watch for her to come in that door, and we will all give her a round of applause. We're talking about Charlotte Shelton, the CEO out at Unity, and her wonderful daughter and son-in-law are back in town from Texas, is it? Georgia. Oh, Georgia. Well, okay. Close. Let me see, what else was I going to say? Oh, in regards to mothers, I ask you, who gave birth to you? You would say, well, my mother did. Who gave birth to her? Well, her mother did. Who gave birth to her? Her mother did. And scientists have discovered that if we can go back nth generations, there was one mother, they affectionately call her Eve, mitochondrial Eve, and she was the first mother of modern human being. There was a variation in nature, and she was the first one that came forth as a modern human being. She is the mother of every single person that came forth after that. In the maternal line, you have her DNA in you. I have my DNA in her. For 200,000 years, her DNA has passed on, and she is the grandmother to the nth degree of all of us. Isn't that incredible that we're all related if we go back to the same grandmother? And if we were able to do that, go back in time somehow, some way, and we found this Eve, and we said, hi, we are your offspring, your great-great-great-great-grandchildren. What advice do you have with us? And she would say, children, get along with each other. That's all I ask. Quit fighting. So, with that common ancestry, perhaps we can move towards that motherly advice. When I was a young child, walking home from school, I would pass by an old house with a big porch that sat far back from the street. It had a chain link fence that was wrapped around the yard, and on the gate of that chain link fence, there was a beware of the dog sign, an old, faded, rusty beware of the dog sign that was hanging by one little hole. Well, every time I'd walk by that house, a dog, a big, dusty, brown, floppy-eared mutt, would come bouncing off the porch, racing down the walk, barking and yelping at me like it was mad. And I took it that was the dog that I was to beware of. I would quicken my step and scoot down the walk in order to get out of harm's way. One day I was walking by that house, and as I got closer and closer and closer, my eyes sent a starting message to my mind that the gate was not locked. And here comes that big dog yelping and barking like crazy. I took off running, and I could hear that dog nipping at my heels. I ran through the Norberg's yard, back to the alley behind their house, down about a half a block. I jumped over maybe a 3 to 3.5 foot white picket fence, landed on my back, and there I left just gasping for air. Well, when I looked up, that dog, not barking now, but quiet, that dog was on the other side of the fence with his tongue hanging out, his nose stuck through a slat, panting just as hard as me. I very cautiously reached up and pet its nose. It licked my fingers, and its tail was wagging. And that's when I discovered there was nothing to beware of. The dog was nice. The dog was friendly. Now then, I tell you this story because it's a perfect example of how in our lives we have different realities that we commit to. And my reality with that dog up to that point was one of fear and loathing towards it. I didn't like the dog. And then in a flash, a new reality came into being. The dog was a friend, and the dog was nice. Now, how can that be? How can you have two different realities happening instantaneously, and depending on where I put my attention, that's the reality that I experience? And once again, I share this with you because most of us, myself included, have a lot of beware of something. Charlotte, you showed up. Yay! There she is. Didn't see you slip in. We have a lot of beware of something going on in our head. A lot of beware of something thoughts. It's beware of what other people will think. Beware of what might happen in the future. Beware of life. It is dangerous. Beware of failing. Beware of stepping out. Beware of taking a chance. Beware, beware, beware. And those beware of things create our certain reality that we experience. We engage ourselves in the reality based on those beware of things. Whether they're true or not, our thoughts create our reality. It doesn't create the reality out there. The reality out there doesn't mean anything. It is meaningless until we apply our thoughts to it, define it, and then we create our own reality through our thoughts. Now then, we create our reality, and at any given moment, there are several different realities that we can imagine, that we can conceive, and that we can invest ourselves in. At any given time, whatever is going on, we can create a reality that results in our emotional experience. For instance, right now, there's several different realities that I could experience. Sitting here right now. That guy back there just looked at his watch. Worried about the time. He's probably got a tea time he's worried about. Maybe he's bored. Maybe I'm boring. I don't know. And there's somebody yawned. Oh my God, I am boring. I'm boring everybody. Everybody in the audience is stifling a yawn because they don't want to hurt my feelings. What am I doing here? And there's somebody leaving. Where's he going? Oh, God, I wish I wasn't here. Why do I have to come up and make a fool out of myself? I am such a boring person. You know, people never yawn. They never look at their watch. They never leave when Janet Taylor's talking. She comes up with her fancy schmancy little talks about this and about that, using her Texan colloquialisms, and everybody laughs and thinks she's cute. Nobody yawns. I think you all just come to listen to the music. You don't care about what I'm saying. Next week in big bold letters, I'm putting in the bulletin, no yawning. No leaving the service, and if you do, you can't get back in. And all wristwatches are taken off and put in your pocket. That's one reality. And believe me, there was a time in my speaking career, as a minister, when that was my reality. Many of you might remember I was standing up here just clenched to this and trying to get out a message of some sort, and a yawn would throw me off. And so, God, I failed. I never want to do this again. But for me, because I believe that, it became my reality. Now, then another reality can be taking place right here, right now, where I look out at all your faces. They're loving, they're accepting, they're supporting. That guy just looked at his watch again, but maybe he's hoping that I'll talk longer than I usually do. Another reality. Our thoughts create our reality, time to time to time. And in any given thoughts, that reality is created by the way we perceive things, our perception of what's going on around us, whether it's right or wrong. If we perceive something and believe it to be true, it becomes true for us, and it's our reality. We perceive things, and a perception can only be conceived in one of two mind frames. Perceptions come forth from one or two mind frames. Now we have three mind frames. We have neutrality, where we're not impulsed by any particular emotion. We're standing on the street, ready to cross. A car is coming by. It passes us. We don't have an emotional feeling about that. We cross the street. The first mind frame is one of a resting point or a neutral point. The second one is one of not accepting, one of rejection, resistance, repulsion. All the re's get put together in the second mind frame, and that is when something happens that we don't like. And our perception is born out of that mind frame. We are standing on a corner waiting to cross a street. A car is coming down the road. It is noisy, it is loud, it is speeding, it is driving recklessly, and as it passes us, it throws its Burger King garbage out on the street. It rolls up by our feet, and we don't like that. So we move into the dislike frame of mind. I don't like what is happening. Our third mind frame is one of acceptance, one of like, one of embrace. We're standing on the street corner, waiting to cross the street. A car is coming down the road. We recognize it's an old friend we haven't seen for some time. The friend rolls down the window, waves at us, says hi, and blows us a kiss. We like that. That's a good experience. We embrace it. We love it. Now, there's a study called A Course in Miracles. And A Course in Miracles talks exactly about that, the miracle of being able to switch your reality in any given moment from one experience to another experience. That is a miracle. Just like the miracle with the dusty brown dog. From being afraid to loving it. It was a miracle that happened. And A Course in Miracles holds to the belief that as we move through life, there are only two movements. We're on the center point or the neutral point. Something happens, and we either move towards fear in all of its varieties, such as anger, resentment, jealousy, embarrassment, hatred, or we move towards love, which is acceptance, embrace, enjoyment, loving it. And every single thing that happens in our lives moves us off that center point to one mind frame or the other, some variance of it. So the Course in Miracles study is to train the mind to make the experiences in the loving mind frame more often and the ones in the not so loving mind frame less often. Now just for a moment, come with me down my life's path and know that everything I'm going to say from this point forward is the absolute truth about you. It applies to me, it applies to you. I was born into this world. At some point in time, this is my lifeline. At some point in time, my life will be complete, and I'll leave this world. This is my lifeline from beginning to end. I can refer to it as my lifetime because it is time that I get to spend. And I spend my lifetime interacting with life. We all do. Whether it's in our minds, through thoughts, feelings, attitudes, and perceptions, whether it's out in the world, interacting with what's going on, we spend our time interacting with life. Now, unfortunately, because we can't predict life and we can't control life, it's not a nice, smooth, easy-to-walk line like this. It has its highs and lows. It has its ups and downs. And this takes us back to A Course in Miracles. I'm on my neutral frame of mind, and something happens that I like, and so I spike upward. I love this. This is a good little experience. And then I return to the neutral point. And then something happens that I don't like. A friend betrays me in some degree, so I spike downward. I don't like that. And then I return to the neutral point. And that's what life is. It's this whole movement, this dance, so to speak, about moving into what we don't like, what disrupts us, what disturbs us, into what we do like, what we love, which strengthens us and nourishes us. That is the whole dance. And the Course in Miracles is to make the high times higher and the low times less low, so that the neutral point actually, which is the average of the emotional feel we have, actually increases our sense of everyday well-being. Now the problem is, as I'm going along, a good friend of mine betrays me and it really hurts. And I spike downward into feelings of sadness, feelings of sorrow, feelings of revenge, feelings of resentment, feelings of hatred. But instead of spiking back up, I hold on to that. And I shuffle along life, kind of like at the bottom of the dark emotional scale. And then eventually, I start to move back up. But because I'm holding on to that resentment and that anger, I never get back to the neutral point. I am just below it. So my well-being is lessened, and that affects every single thing in my life. So what is the solution? There's only one. At some point in time, you have to forgive. You have to forgive what took you down into the depths and what kept you there and what does not allow you to return to a healthy point of well-being. You have to forgive it, and forgive means give for. I have to give up these feelings that I have, that I've carried for a day, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 20 years. It didn't make any difference. I have to give up those feelings for a return to a solid state of well-being. It is forgiveness. And I do not forgive the friend that betrayed me. I don't forgive the actions. I forgive all the feelings that I've got around them, so they no longer affect me. At the same time, when you run into something that's really good and really loving, and we spike upwards, when we come back, we bring that feeling and that emotional experience with us, but we stay just above the line so that our well-being continues to increase. So we have forgiveness of that which does not serve us, and we have remembrance of that which does serve us, and life becomes better. And that's the gradual evolution of our lives, continually spiraling higher and higher and higher to greater states of well-being, because in doing that, we radiate out an energy to the world that allows the world to be uplifted simply by our presence. Our thoughts create our reality at any given time. There's many different realities we can explore. And when we move into a reality that is not comforting, that's not supportive, that's not nourishing for us, we can feel that because it does not feel good. Just as when the physical body takes some sort of a sickness, it doesn't feel good. When the emotional body moves below the line and starts to spike downward, it doesn't feel good. And it's caused by our reaction to something. So we need to determine what exactly am I reacting to, and it's all within me. My friend can betray me day and night, day and night, day and night. It doesn't mean anything until I attach a meaning to it. I can be totally immunized from a negative feeling about that and say, well, bless that soul. That's just a lesson he needs to learn on his path. He needs to, at some point in time, realize that it hurts him just as much as it hurts me or other people when he betrays them. But I don't have to be touched by it. It doesn't have to stain or infect my life. And my reaction is, just as Jesus said, and it's hard to do sometimes, bless your enemy. Pray for your enemy. God, I hope he gets better. I hope his life is a good one. Bless your enemy. Pray for your enemy. And enemies don't have to be people. They can be anything. Anything in your life that disrupts your peace of mind and your sense of well-being, that is your enemy. And that is what we get to forgive. We have the incredible power, the spiritual blessing of being able to forgive that which holds us down. As we move into meditation this morning, I'd like you to think a little bit about what you might want to forgive. And perhaps it goes beyond your personal life, and you want to forgive those powers on the other side of the world that seem to attack the United States and that we're engaged in war with. You might want to forgive natural disasters that have taken many, many lives. Whatever disrupts your peace of mind, this is the time to just release it, move back to not only the neutral point, but step above it and experience a sense of well-being that you haven't experienced in a long time. We'll now move into meditation. This is your time to relax. It's time for you to step outside of your life in the world and go to your inner world. And there you are in total control. You have the end say. You decide what happens. You decide the emotional environment, and nobody has the power to dictate anything other. You're a good person living a good life in a good world, and you are here to make it better. You're a blessing, and you are blessed. For a moment, each of us can do a quick inventory of what's going on in our mind. You know, if there's something that needs to be healed emotionally, just imagine it like a crying baby that you pick up, you hold tight, you sway back and forth, and you just tell it it's going to be okay. Whatever's bothering you, it's going to be okay. You don't have to be in pain any longer. You don't have to feel hurt any longer. You don't have to have resentment. You don't have to feel like a victim. Those are all things you've taken on, and in that same sense, you can release them and rise above. Rise above all fears. For every fear other than that for survival and safety is an illusion. It's simply the way you have perceived something. And with every perception, there's many, many others to choose from. You're a good person, living a good life in a good world. Life isn't always easy. It has its ups and downs, its highs and lows. But if it weren't for the lows, we would not have the lessons to learn that take us to even higher peaks of feeling good. So we bless those times. Say, thank you for the lesson. Thank you for the momentum to pick myself up and move back to high ground. Things may be difficult for you right now. The future might be bleak. There might be a lot of unknowns. But you'll make it. You'll make it to the higher ground because you have what it takes. In a moment of silence, we now rest easy in the beautiful wonder of life. And may each of us affirm, I'm a good person, living a good life in a good world. In the silence. we now begin to come back to this time and this place. And as you do so, come back with a sense of renewal. This is a new day, and you get to create the reality that you experienced it in. So it is.
And now for Mother's Day, we have an extra special treat just to celebrate all the mothers that are here, or all the mothers that are the reason that we are here. We have a special slideshow presentation. Enjoy.